Welcome back to Save the Nation. We here at Freedom Works are always talking about grassroots activism, and that's because we have over 6 million activists across the country. So joining me today is one of those special activists, Merissa Hamilton from Arizona. Merissa, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So Merissa, I want to talk to you a little bit about all the amazing work that you are doing in your local community. What's going on right now in your community in Arizona?
We have so much activity happening in Arizona. Our biggest challenge right now is finding a space large enough to hold all of our activists.
That's a great problem to have.
It's fantastic. I absolutely love the challenge. We're working right now on actually having a dedicated grassroots space for our training and for our events, because we went from having meetings in living rooms and dens to now where we have 300, 400, 500 activists coming to our events.
Wow, that's incredible. So Merissa, you were here last weekend actually for one of the Freedom Works fly-ins. You said that your people from Arizona made up over half of the people coming in, because that's just how passionate you guys are down there about the stuff that's going on. What are you all fighting for?
So we are fighting for the survival of our state, for the survival of freedom and liberty. I mean, Arizona has been the last stand of election integrity. We have an audit report that's about to come out any day now. We have been fighting against the vaccine mandates. We've been fighting against the mask mandates. We've been fighting for educational freedom. I mean, the left has really gotten more aggressive than I think anyone ever imagined would happen to America. And we are fighting against that boot that they are putting on our necks, because this is America. We are supposed to have liberty, and our grassroots is saying, not here. Go back to California if you want that.
So Merissa, you and I have worked together for a couple years now here in DC doing different trainings, and you have been in the game for a long time. I mentioned you had run for mayor of Phoenix and done certain other activities to put you in positions of leadership and just really rise up that grassroots in Arizona. What got you so motivated to start taking action?
So I'm actually a survivor of domestic violence, and what I found, I had a very good career. Many times people, and especially women in that situation, they might be stay-at-home moms, they're very vulnerable financially, but I was in a fairly decent situation, and it was still very difficult for me to get out of it. And what I found was that government made it harder. And so after I was able to flee, I started helping other women. I started helping moms. I took in a family, and I found that at every step of the way, government almost entrapped victims in these circumstances. Oftentimes, government would empower the abusers. Government would use the children almost as currency through all their systems. And I could not stand for that. And so that is what originally got me active in making such a difference. Before that, I would care about current events. I was a little bit of a keyboard warrior. I was in the supply chain, and so I would interact with lobbyists from time to time to stop government from doing bad things to the supply chain. But when I saw what they were doing to children, when I saw what they were doing to women, that is when I had to step up and say, no more. We have got to take our government back.
What an incredible testimony, Merissa. That's amazing to hear that you went from being that keyboard warrior to really doing something and putting action behind your words. I love to hear that. So for people that are watching right now and they're inspired by your story, they're inspired by our other 6 million activists that they get to hear from every so often, how can they get involved in fighting back against their own government?
Well, in Arizona, after my mayor's race, where we stopped the defunding of the police, we stopped BLM Plaza, stopped our mayor from doing a lot of bad things, and stopped her from running for governor because she spent $1 million on my little 3-month campaign, we hit the ground running. We did not take a break. We worked heavily on election integrity. And then in April, we started an organization called easyaz.org. And that is low barrier activism. We make civic action easy as pie. We have a monthly pie club where we educate activists on how to be effective. We just, for the first time, had the grassroots go through the election manual draft from our Secretary of State, and we found so many bad things. I called a former staffer for the Secretary of State and said, how many emails do you usually get on public comment? And they said 2 to 3, maybe max 10. We sent 4,500 emails from our grassroots activists in Arizona. And so I highly recommend make civic action easy, make it accessible. We try to keep all of our activism 1 minute or less. If you have 15 minutes, you can save our state, you can change our country. And so that is the purpose of what we're doing with EasyAZ.
Well, 15 minutes. I think all of us can spare 15 minutes in even our very busy days. Merissa, can you repeat where people can find you again?
Sure, you go to easyaz.org.
Wonderful. Merissa Hamilton, thank you so much for being with us today on Save the Nation and for all the fantastic work that you are doing for your own community and for our country.
Thank you so much for having me on, and it's so great to see you again.
You're so welcome. And thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of Save the Nation. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here same time, same place next week. Have a great Sunday.